Hey y'all, it's your girl Missniecytv and I'm here to do a review for Sistas Season 8, Episode 4. The episode picks up where left off and Andy sees Hudson at the hospital and Hudson asks her what is she doing here and Andy's like, I'm here to see Gary. Hudson's basically like, you can stop playing the victim, I know it's hard trying to put a damsel in distress act all the time. Andy's like, don't talk to me. Hudson's like, you've convinced everybody that you're so helpless and naive. Andy's like, this is not the time to talk about this. Hudson's like, well leave then, ain't that what you always wanted to do? You want to be as far away from Gary as possible. Andy's like, no I don't, that's actually why I'm here, I want to see if he's okay. Hudson's like, no you don't, you just want to laugh in his dying face. Andy's like, why would I want to do that? And Hudson's like, well everything around you turns into shit, and you always seem to manage to come out clean. Andy's like, I'm not going to sit here and be berated by somebody that doesn't even know me. Hudson's like, I might actually know you a little bit. Andy's like, how? Hudson's like, because I've been watching you for a while. Andy's like, well thank you for telling me, because as soon as I get to the office, I'm getting a restraining. Andy basically tells him to move, and Hudson's like, if I don't, will I get a knife in my chest too? Andy's like, well, you know I didn't. Hudson's like, who did you get to do your dirty work? I knew you were going to be a problem, but Gary was too blinded by love to see that. Andy's like, love? Hudson's like, yes, Andy, Gary loved you a lot. Hudson's like, now he's in there fighting for his life, and Andy's like, I'm not going to allow you to flip this on me when you were the one that's sitting there like a lapdog, doing everything that Gary says. While you also watch him ruin people's lives, and Hudson's basically like, you have no room to talk, you can ruin people's lives too. Hudson basically tells her that it should be her instead of Gary fighting for his life in the hospital room. Hudson's like, if I found out that you know something about the person who stabbed Gary, Andy's like, I don't know who stabbed Gary, but I wish they would come back and stab you. Then we see the security guard come in, and Hudson starts yelling at him like, where were you? You're supposed to be protecting Gary's room. The security guard is like, well, I went to go get some food, and Andy's like, I'm here to see my fiance. The security guard is like, well, if you're here to see your fiance, you can go on in. Hudson's like, you don't even have the power to do that. She's not even supposed to be in his room or even anywhere in this vicinity. Andy's like, why not? Hudson's like, because I'm his power of attorney. Then he pulls out the document and shows it to Andy, and Andy's like, this don't even look real. And then her and the security guard go back and forth looking at it. The security guard looks at it one more time, and he's like, I can read. This is what it says. Hudson's like, you know what, Andy, I have a change of heart. But he grabs her as he's saying that. Mind you, Hudson has grabbed her 3 times during this conversation. Hudson is definitely up to something, because I wouldn't trust it if I were you. How do you have a change of heart? Over at the law firm, we see Robin confronting Fatima about the phone call she just had, and he's like, is that work related, and was that Andy? Fatima's like, yeah. Robin's like, what was it about? And Fatima's like, yeah, nothing to do with you. Do you need anything so I can get back to Robin's like, so you were talking to Andy, I know that's your girl, and y'all have a relationship outside of work, but I'm here to protect her too. Fatima's like, so you say, and Robin's like, have I done anything to suggest that I don't? Fatima's like, can I be honest and not like get fired honest? Robin's like, please do. Fatima's like, I know you and Andy have had a relationship outside of work and that's in the past, but that doesn't mean I can trust you and Andy can either. Robin's like, trust me, and do I need to remind you that I'm the reason why Andy's not in jail or still in the interrogation room? Fatima's like, I'm sure she's very thankful for your help, but I find it crazy how Leland dies, Gary ruins the firm, but you come back as soon as she needs your help. Robin's like you said, me and Andy have a history and I care about her. Fatima's like, I don't know if that's a good thing because all these men caring about Andy makes them crazy. Robin's like, I'm not like Gary or them other guys. He's like, what do I gotta tell you to make you believe that I'm not just here for Andy? I came to help the firm. Fatima's like, well, she's very capable of doing that herself. Robin basically tells her once Andy gets done with all the stuff with the FBI and stuff, she'll be fine to do her job, but until then, Hayden has her caseload. Fatima's like, why would you do that? And Robin's like, I'm basically doing it so you could keep busy at the partner's ears. Fatima's like, he doesn't like me, you, or Andy, and he's a tax attorney. He doesn't know anything about divorce. Robin's like, that might be true, but he reiterates to Fatima that Hayden's her boss now. And Fatima's not liking it. Once Robin leaves, we see Hayden try to come talk to Fatima, and he's like, how's my new employee? And Fatima's basically like, boy, go on somewhere. We're at the airport. We see Tony talking to Danny. He's like, I have a surprise for you. Danny's like, what is it? He passes her this pamphlet, and he's like, there's this leadership program at the airline, and I think you'd be perfect for it, so I signed you up. And Danny's like, why would you even do that? You didn't even ask. And Tony's like, I had to move fast. And Danny's like, well, what is it? He's like, more pay, more hours, more meetings, and all this other stuff. And Danny's like, you don't even know me for real. It's like, dating me all this time, you really thought that working more headaches is something that I wanted? And Tony's like, you're really not happy about this? Danny's like, no. He's like, spending my nights and weekends with stiff managers sounds funny. Tony's like, you should be thinking about career advance. Danny's like, maybe I don't want to advance in my career. Tony's like, well, I just want it better for you, since all your friends are getting promotions and Karen owns her salon. Tony, have you ever thought about that she sees this as a job and not a career? There's a difference between a job and having a career. Tony is like, I get that you're mad and all, but can we talk about this in my office? And Danny's like, here you go, trying to control what I say and how I say and how I do it. And he's like, you know what you can do? You can go hop on a plane, go to Italy, guide your kids and your ex-wife because you don't have to guide me. Tony's like, this is what we do. No, you bringing my kids into it? Danny's like, no, but I'm just trying to show you that I'm not the one you're supposed to be guiding. You're supposed to be guiding your kid. Tony got on his man condition and said, what kind of man would I be, right? He was like, what kind of man would I be if I seen a better opportunity that would better my woman and I didn't take it? She's like the type of man that would know his woman well enough to know that she wouldn't want to do something like that. Tony's like, that's just your pride talking. Danny's like, maybe it's just your ego talking. Tony's like, I can't win for losing. I'ma just take you off. Danny's like, how would that look if you got me up there but took me off? Tony needs to stop overstepping. He needs to realize that Danny's capable of doing things on her own. Back over at the law firm, we see Fatima talking to Hayden. He's like, I see that Robin told you good news. Fatima's like, yeah, basically you're my new boss. Basically tells her, you better learn how to make lattes if you want to keep your boss happy. And she's like, well, I could break your legs. Hayden's like, well, I'm gonna have to teach you some respect and professionalism. And Fatima's like, you can't teach me anything. Hayden's like, I'm looking forward to Andy going to prison so I can finally fire you. Fatima's like, me nor Andy are going anywhere. So Zach shows up, he checks on Fatima. He's like, you alright? Hayden's like, no, she's not. She's using personal time on the clock and she has to get back to work. Hayden decides to take the bag out of Zach's hand and Zach is like, hey, yo, have you lost your mind? Do I have to drag you down the stairs again to remind you? Hayden's like, chill, I didn't want no bagels anyway. Hayden's like, oh, she didn't tell you the good news? Zach is like, tell me what? Hayden's like, I'm her new boss. Fatima's like, oh, temporary boss. He's like, who decided that? Fatima's like, Robin. Zach is like, Robin's back? Hayden basically tells her that Zach is no longer allowed on the premises. Fatima's like, chill, you just brought me a snack. Zach is like, you must really forgot what my fists feel like. Fatima's like, Zach, don't do that, I can handle it. Hayden gets on his high horse and is like, yeah, she can handle me, alright, she's done it before. Zach reaches over to grab Hayden, but Fatima jumps in the middle and Hayden's like, you know what, I'll give you 5 minutes, but after that, I'm calling security and you gotta leave. Hayden's like, do you understand me, Fatima? Fatima's like, yes, Hayden, I understand. Hayden's like, good girl. And I'm like, good girl, Hayden, you done lost your damn mind. Over at the bank, we see Sabrina talking to Maurice, and he's basically like, what's the tea? What's the tea? He wants a tea on Gary and all that stuff, right? So she basically tells him what happened. That's when Paige walks in and she's like, who did it? They're like, who did what? Paige is like, give me fired. Somebody called corporate and said that I was in the parking lot giving head and getting backshot. Maurice is clocking Paige's tea left and right, eating her up and spitting her out, right? And Sabrina's telling Paige that she no longer works here, so she needs to leave. Paige is like, actually, I do. I told them that I was going to sue the bank if they didn't give me my job back, and they folded. Sabrina's like, go to HR and get some proof, because if you don't, I'm going to drag you out myself. And I'm like, Sabrina, yes, girl, you finally standing up for yourself. Back over at the law firm after the altercation with Hayden, Zach and Fatima are talking. And Zach is like, so Robin really hired him back? Zach is like, yeah, I don't get it. Fatima's like, I don't get it either. His timing is suspicious. She's like, do you think Robin did it? Zach is like, what will be his motive? Fatima's like, Andy. Zach is like, you'll be crazy to kill your ex's ex. Fatima looks stressed out and Zach is like, don't be stressed out. You gotta learn to take care of yourself. Fatima's like, what happened to my sack? Zach is like, I'm sorry, I'll share though. Fatima's like, nah, I don't really got an appetite like that. Zach is like, you okay? Fatima's like, yeah, but I'm gonna need you to stop eating because I'm getting nauseous. We may be getting a baby Taylor announcement soon because they're definitely alluding to her having pregnancy symptoms. Over at the salon, we see Pam talking to Karen, and Karen's like, let me go finish this business plan, and Pam is already upset that she didn't finish it. And I'm like, Pam, if you want something done, do it yourself. Karen's like, I'm about to go to my office and chill. Pam is like, okay. The next thing you know, we see an irate customer come in, and she's like, owner. Pam is like, what do you need? The customer's like, are you the owner? Well, Karen walks up and the customer's like, are you the owner or are you just the help too? Karen's like, I'd appreciate it if you don't speak to me or my customers like that, but I'm the owner. Basically, the customer's upset because she feels like Rooster Riches took out her edges and that's the only thing she used on her hair, and now she has no edges and she's calling Rooster Riches a scam and all this other stuff. Karen's like, if you continue to act like this, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. The customer ain't hearing that, so she gets on live. She's like, I'm talking to the owner. Pam is like, exactly what proof do you have? And the customer's like, who are you? Pam is like, I'm the co-owner. Pam, she was planning to go after Karen, not you, but now since you open your mouth, she's gonna come after you too. Karen's like, can we just go in my office and talk about this? The customer's like, no. Karen's like, what do you exactly want us to do for you then? The customer's like, 400. I'm sorry to break it to you, customer, but you're not seeing that 400K because Karen or Pam got that money. Back over at the bank, Sabrina and Maurice are having a heart-to-heart conversation because Sabrina feels like she puts everybody else before her and she never speaks up for herself. And now she wants to feel like when it's her turn to get good karma. Maurice is like, girl, are you gonna die today? Sabrina's like, I don't know. Maurice is like, well, you still got time to live and make different choices. Sabrina, you wouldn't feel this way if you actually spoke up for yourself. You can't make yourself the victim in a situation when you're the one that caused it. If you want something to change, speak up. Over at the hospital, Andy finally makes it into Gary's hospital room, and she sits down and she starts crying, and she's like, I remember the first day I fell in love with you. I love you. Why are you doing this? Was all this worth it? I let my guard down with you. I really loved you, and you did all this for what? She's like, I can't stand to see you like this. And I'm like, deep down, you still love that man. The next thing you know, we see Gary open his eyes and he starts convulsing. Hudson set Andy up and she just don't know it yet. Let me know what you guys think about the episode. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn your bell notifications. Bye!